I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
It's Oops the podcast. Hello, friends. I'm Francis. I'm joined by my dear friend and co-host Giulio Gallerati.
What's happening?
How are you, pal?
Dude, I just want to say, the second I started wearing this Beyond Meat hat, the stock fucking bounced back, baby. It ain't no coincidence. Some insider trading, dude.
Let me see that. What's the logo? It's a cow with a cape.
Yeah, 100%.
Beyond Meat is not meat, correct? So why would they put the cow on there?
I'm not really sure. I haven't really... My girlfriend gave me this hat, and she's like, you look good in it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even suggesting that I do. She just told me that, and that's all that matters. Because I know people are going to be like, you look like a fucking tool.
Do you still care about looking good for your girlfriend?
What do you mean? That's all that's all there is, dude.
I don't care at all.
Is that your strategy to seem more confident so that she likes you, or do you just no longer care what she does?
I think that my girlfriend is so forgiving that there is really no there's no basement for how bad I could look.
Gotcha. That's nice.
I'm almost at the point where I want to test the limits. Sometimes what I started doing before I got my hair cut recently, and my hair got pretty long, and I would just pull the hair down over the front of my forehead straight as if I was like a Jim in the early Office episodes. You know? And it's a bad look for me. It's really bad. I mean, it's like school shooter mixed with 1990s grunge Seattle band lead bass player mixed with like barista who hates his mother. It's a bad look. It's a soup of misery on my forehead. So when I do that, she can't look at me. And it doesn't bother me because I can't see my face. So I pull my hair down, and then she goes like this and fixes it and pulls it out of my face. And then when she's not looking, I pull it down again. She hates it. She hates it. Dries her up.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But my point is, so you do care to look good for your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, look. I mean, look, I get that.
Dude, you're an odd guy, dude. I came over here once and I saw something real, but Francis is like very committed to making himself to his body and shit. I've seen him in action, working out. Like, we've worked out together. He was impressive then. I came over here one night and he was working out, and his girlfriend was upstairs like drinking wine alone. And she's kind of just like
booze bag
drinking alone. I come downstairs. Francis is like doing decline push-ups on a metal rod connected to his rowing machine. And he's like, dude, I'm in the middle of a workout. I was like looking for something. And then I'm looking around, can't find it. And he's just in the fucking zone.
Yep.
And then I left. And then I was like, Francis is doing something. He's looking good. He's keeping it together. But I wonder, yeah, it's clearly not for the girlfriend. Because he was spending his time with his girlfriend on his body, and I was confused.
Okay. So here's the reality. The most of my exercise is for mental health.
Okay.
I really exercise to help me with mental health. Joe Rogan really pushes people to that. For me, I know that the balance of my brain is pretty precarious. How important sleep is. And these things do not come easily to me. To sustain a good balance of both sleep and mental health, I think exercise and diet are the two most important ingredients. And I guess I would say getting outside is the third thing for me.
Right.
And I'm aware of that. So my medicine is having a very consistent exercise regime. And yet, a lot of people exercise because they're vain, right? Because they want to look good in the mirror.
That helps. That's a perk, right?
I like how I look, but
you look great. Dude.
Thank you. But more importantly, I need that release and that body fatigue in order to not have the dogs barking in my head all night.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, man. And I think that everybody could learn a lesson from that to some degree.
Yes.
Because I notice with myself too, when I am on a good regimen, I feel amazing.
Absolutely. So, I'm being a little flippant here. I think that yes, I like the fact that my girlfriend is probably pleased with how I look naked. I hope, right? But
she rubs her fingers down your abs as they contract.
Yeah, sure.
As you make sweet love to her.
Yeah, we don't have to do foreplay. You know, I just take my shirt off.
Fuck, dude, I gotta fucking readjust here.
No,
do a little tuck.
But the point is, if I gained 20 pounds tomorrow, we wouldn't stop having sex. You know, I'm aware that I have a little bit of a runway here. I have some leeway.
Right.
And
it's a slippery slope, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, no, I feel you. I know, dude.
I think unfortunately, I'm more aware of keeping my shit together, of getting haircuts and, you know, having a little bit of a skincare routine and all of that because of its importance on my career.
Right. Certainly makes a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude.
But at the same time, like, my girlfriend's pretty good looking, so I like to, you know, I'm aware that there's like, let's call it we are each other's nuclear deterrent.
Right.
We have an arms race.
Détente.
Yes.
I like your girlfriend a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
She's cool.
She's great.
My girlfriend likes your girlfriend a lot,
great,
too.
is really great person.
This is great.
She's awesome.
See this? Look at this.
Yeah.
This is great.
Uh-huh. We got to hang out more. We got to do that. I'm already planning my birthday party. It's going to be in March.
Amazing. Can't wait.
I'm going to Skankfest, though.
Oh, man, in Texas?
Yeah.
Cool.
You going to do that?
I don't know.
Like, did you apply for it?
No.
Oh, I sent in an application.
Oh, nice.
And that's going to be over my birthday weekend. Whatever.
Cool. Well, that'll be fun, man. It was in Austin?
Houston.
Cool.
Oil.
Absolutely. I've never been to Texas.
I've been to San Antonio for 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express near the airport and played LOL for 3 straight nights. It was in the height of summer. It was 104 degrees.
Oh, my God, dude.
And I didn't rent a car. So I was Ubering everywhere, which meant that I didn't want to go anywhere. And I just stayed in my tiny hotel room.
Oh, yeah, that's no good, man.
Of my airport Holiday Inn Express for 4 days.
What a bummer.
Mental
health situation, not good.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Dude, my grandfather, who lived in Italy, he used to live here, but then my entire life he lived in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
He used to ask me if I had been to Texas. And he called me Giulietto. He would go, Giulietto, you ever go to Texas? And I'd be like, no. And then he would go, the horse. And that's all he would say. I'll never forget that. Like, he just pictured Texas as this land where horses outpopulate humans and they're just roaming freely.
It's a lovely view of Texas.
I owe it to him to visit.
And it's sort of the way that Cormac McCarthy paints Texas. And he's probably my favorite author.
What does he say?
All of his books are set in Texas, Cormac McCarthy. You should read All the Pretty Horses. It's my favorite book ever.
Really?
Number one
really?
book. Yep.
Wow.
I just read it again. And then you got No Country for Old Men.
I've
Also
seen
a
the movie.
fantastic book. Read that
movie.
book. The Crossing, Cities of the Plain, Blood Meridian. The Road is pretty different. That's post-apocalyptic. But read some of his work because he is truly, in my mind, the second coming of William Faulkner, as far as great American writers, especially who hail from the South.
Interesting. Cool. That's a good little fact.
Yeah. Read, people. Anyway, Texas, unfortunately is not just rolling ranch plains and, beautiful streams and horses and cowboys who keep their heads tilted down. You know what I mean by that?
Right. No, totally.
They're always looking down. It's now a lot of Arby's. They have a lot of Arby's there.
Dude, speaking of Arby's, I went to an Arby's in West Virginia, and I was with Ben DeMarco, a good friend of ours of the pod, and we went on the side of the highway or whatever. It wasn't really a highway. It was like a sort of a side, in between a highway and a back road. And Ben ordered a bacon cheeseburger. And the lady went, do you want the mid? And Benny was like, what's the mid? And they're like, it means more meat. And he was like, no, I don't want the mid. It's just like a very gross interaction. There's no point to that story.
Well, but isn't it weird that
The
they would
mid.
call adding more meat the mid?
the mid.
To me, when you say mid, that's like, do you want to go a halfway?
Right. That
Which
makes
would
more
mean
sense.
less meat.
Yeah. If anybody's heard of the mid, please let me know. That's like a weird.
Yeah. I'm not a fast food guy. But
Me either.
Arby's looks good. It just, I don't know.
Does it? Are you just saying that?
I've never really seen a sandwich up close. I've only ever seen their sandwiches falling in slow motion from the top of a screen, landing perfectly stacked, along with that incredible beat. Bum, 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 bum.
Well, I know it's a
the
spoken.
meats.
We have the meats.
That's right.
It's a spoken abbreviation. Arby roast beef.
What?
Like Arby. R.B.
Roast. That's how they came up with that name?
That's what I've heard.
Shut your pie hole.
Yeah. But that's like a very army thing. Like also the word Jeep comes from G.P. which meant general purpose vehicle in the army.
Shut your pie hole.
Jeep.
You are. Oh,
You like that,
I didn't
right?
know. I didn't know these things. Nobody told me this. What? Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that?
Yeah,
This
man.
is new. This is new stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of good military acronyms. things like
Acronyms,
that.
yeah. Well, hey, listen, folks. You guys have been on along the ride with us all this time, and we are we're trying to come up with some new segments. I'm going to be honest with you to add a little structure to our show, and we always talk about mistakes and stuff. Here's something I want to talk about. I want to talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, because these two are now talking about potentially leaving behind their claim to a royal lifestyle. They're trading in their fancy garments and their horse-drawn carriages and talking about moving to Canada. What do you think about that? Is that a mistake? Would that be a mistake?
Okay, so this is a thing where it's like, is this a mistake or actually like a glow up? Like
Yeah.
something that's going to make them feel better.
Yeah.
All I can think of is there's a Migos song where before the beat starts, he goes, I'm thinking about moving to Canada, but I know they're going to be still watching me. And then they bring it back and say it again.
That's really good. That's the perfect lyric.
Right? I'm thinking about moving. But yeah, so if there's a way, can we put that in?
I'm thinking about moving to Canada, but I know they gonna be still watching me.
All right, we'll put
Yeah,
that.
and by the way, I just really quick, I want to tell you guys something. Giulio and Chris know every word to every mumble rap song. We were in the car together for like an hour a couple weeks ago, and they were just playing all these songs that like I've heard on the radio, and I've been like, I can't decipher a single thing that's being said. And they were singing at the top of their lungs and looking at each other as if they'd just been married. It was a love affair budding over lyrics that are not decipherable.
Chris was singing. What song were you singing again?
Well, Chris, yeah,
Ultralight beam.
Oh yeah, Chris was singing Ultralight Beam, really getting into it.
Chris, that's his like clearly his karaoke song.
They don't have that song in karaoke.
They sure
They
don't.
might.
But this one time, I was singing Shaggy by or not
By Shaggy.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me by
It
Shaggy.
wasn't me, yep.
And I know all the words to the that part. They didn't
Yeah.
even have the words on the screen, but I was singing the whole thing. That's
What a
my
flex.
top crowning achievement.
That's a good
That's
flex,
pretty
guys.
cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Also, that's
buddy.
a song that was way before your time.
Yeah,
That's a
but-
Soya Bella.
So I'm impressed. That's an oldie to you.
Oh,
All right.
You ever think about that?
Yeah, that's true.
You ever think about how, because when I was growing up, we had a radio station, 100.9 in Portland, Maine. It was oldies, 100.9. And that was the one, I used to, as a kid, I was embarrassed to reveal to my parents that I was a fan of Will Smith or Britney Spears or NSYNC.
Why Will Smith in that category?
Will Smith came out with Big Willie Style.
Which was a good album.
Unbelievable
Very
album.
good.
All my classmates in 4th grade got that album. Cecilia, Hannah, Flint, they all got it. They all
And
got
no
that
swearing
album.
on that album too. Parent friendly.
Exactly. exactly. It had the cover was Will like wearing a white shirt, looking like an angel,
looking dope.
Yeah. It had Miami on it. It had Getting Jiggy with it.
Wild
it
Wild
had
West?
Just the two of us. It did not have Wild Wild West.
It wasn't a bonus track?
I don't think. Was it?
I don't know. It might not be.
I don't think so. I don't think Wild Wild West came out until that movie came out, and then it was featured on the soundtrack.
We're going to take a look. You're probably right. I want to look anyway.
The point was, I wanted this album more than anything in the world. But I felt like music was something I needed. My love of this, like, of new teenage kind of hip hop or risky music was as embarrassing and something that I needed to hide in the same way that puberty was embarrassing.
Oh, interesting.
I was as
You're right, by the
nervous
way. Sorry.
what's that?
Wild Wild West is not on the track
Yeah.
list.
I was as nervous to reveal to my parents that I liked this music as I was to ask my parents to buy me like razors to shave my peach fuzz mustache.
It was a change which made you uncomfortable.
Yeah. I was growing older. So the only thing that I felt safe, and my parents didn't care. It wasn't like weird, you know?
Mhm.
Once the dominoes started to fall, like once I asked my parents officially for Big Willie style and they got it for me, within short order, I was watching porn, whacking the mole,
Is that masturbating?
yeah,
term?
doing all kinds of terrible
Whacking the
shit,
mole.
building bombs. No, I didn't. I wasn't a terrorist. The point is, though, up till then, the only thing I felt comfortable listening to in front of my parents was oldies. Oldies 100.9, right?
Same.
And it was
with
all
me.
Beatles tracks. It was like,
Four Seasons.
my boyfriend's back and he's
Yeah.
hey la, my boyfriend's back.
Dude, we have a good
That's good harmony.
harmony.
Yeah. So I think my parents probably thought I was gay, because a lot of that music, like show tunes, stuff like that, safe stuff. But dude, the point is, when we're raising kids, what will the oldies radio station be playing? Is it going to be playing Migos?
Like maybe.
And are we going to be like telling our second grade kids like, back in our day, music meant something. Let me play you this old track. Listen to the lyrics, Migos.
Right.
And then they're going to be like, I fucked a bitch. I came on her face and she looked at me wrong, And we'll be like, that's wholesome. And then our kids are going to be like, no, Dad, you don't know anything. Let me play you what the kids are listening to today. And then the music of that era is going to be so fucked up. Like, do you know what I mean? Compare Migos and Dr. Dre to the Beatles.
Right.
The Beatles were seen as risque in their era.
Right. Well, not on the oldies channel. They didn't play the risque Beatles stuff on the oldies channel. They played like the early Beatles.
Oh, right.
But yes, okay, fine. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to come all the way back around and the music's just going to be incredibly woke, where the rappers are going to be like, I banged they.
Oh, okay.
I banged them.
I made love to they.
Right,
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? But you're
After
right. Like
signing a consent contract.
Because obviously, yeah, you're not going to talk like she gave me good neck. It's not going to be something you're showing your 7-year-old. You know what I mean? The oldie station. And plus, it's hard to listen to rap on the radio because censored rap is just like,
it's awful.
Then
Dude,
no song.
I accidentally bought the Marshall Mathers LP at Walmart, not
Censored?
knowing that it was censored. So for years, I would listen to that fucking song. It was like one of his worst ones where he talks about like, ripped the neck off with a chainsaw, dangling from the neck, but a head barely hangs on.
Was
Blood,
it
guts.
Kim?
Huh?
Was it Kim? That song's bad.
You don't want to fuck with Shady, because Shady will fucking kill you. And they gave him the Rolling Stone cover. You goddamn right, bitch, and I was too late. I'm triple platinum, tragedies happen in 2 states. I ain't violent, you vibe, venomous vibe, little bitches vain. Ving, ving, ving. That song. So 90% of that song is bleeped out, is silent.
Right.
And I had no idea what the lyrics were. And when I would rap it with my friends in the car, they would look at me as if I was having an epileptic fit. Because
funny.
I had huge chunks where I'd be like, you know what I'm saying?
Hilarious.
I didn't know.
I like the album version better. They're like, this is the album version.
Yeah.
That's funny, dude.
And they could fill in all the blanks.
Yeah, because that was crazy. Because some of this, like back in that era, they actually made songs for the radio where they had different lyrics.
Yes.
And that was crazy. But not all, obviously not all the songs.
Think about Gold Digger by Kanye West, right?
Broke.
Broke.
Right.
That replaced the
Even that,
N-word.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Wait, dude, we should get back to what you were talking about, Meghan Markle
Oh, yeah.
and Prince
Sure.
Harry.
Yeah.
So what's going on with this? You just mentioned it when I walked in the door today.
So
but I haven't heard much
the
about
question is, they are saying, well, we don't need the pomp and circumstance of royal life. We are willing to potentially relinquish our Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles in favor of perhaps a more quiet life. And I would suspect that a lot of this may stem from, I think Prince Harry's mom, Lady Diana, was killed in a car crash in a tunnel because wasn't she being chased by paparazzi?
Right. I think that is what the story.
And that has to hang over your head.
There's a little more to that story, I think.
Of course.
But yes, it was some very unfortunate circumstance.
The royals in Britain are hounded after. They are sought in the way that the Spice Girls were at the height of Spice World. And people are obsessed with their lives.
Right.
There's not much respect.
Would that change if they were to give away their titles? I feel like it would not.
I think if they moved to Canada and lived in a cabin in
Is that the plan?
Saskatchewan, I don't know exactly what the plan is, but they would certainly tone down their parades and their public visits and their statehood duties.
Right.
It's obviously a very ceremonial role.
Right. Although Prince William has been he was the first person in a couple of generations to be sent on an actual diplomatic mission.
Was he?
Yeah. He's like very involved.
Huh.
They sent him, I think, to Saudi Arabia last year.
Well, that's good.
He's great. He can handle it. You know what I mean? Harry doesn't need to do it.
Yeah, and also like the Queen of England, God save the Queen or whatever, but she's too old to like take on true matters of state.
Right. It's definitely a largely ceremonial role.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they've stayed as respectable and prominent as they have, whereas other aristocrats from other countries have far less respect and far less duties, far fewer duties. The King of Sweden and shit are known for being like drunks.
Yes, I once hung out with a Prince of Norway.
How was that?
And like the direct heir.
How was
he
that?
was pretty cool. We did cocaine together off of a key.
Case in point.
Yeah, good guy.
Little bump. So what do you think? Do you think this is a good move by them or what?
I think so, because
you guys can decide as well.
I think it is because, he's third in line right now behind, his dad, Prince Charles, and his brother, Prince William. And a lot of people think that Prince Charles should just abdicate and give it to his son, Prince William.
Right.
But it's like being the third string quarterback, and Prince Harry has had lots of run-ins with being on the wrong side of a tabloid story over the years, right? Like, remember that time that he dressed up as a Nazi officer for Halloween?
No, but Jesus.
He wore full, like, Nazi paraphernalia.
Jeez.
And it was only weeks removed from a state-sponsored visit to the concentration camps in Germany.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Where he'd gone. And so it was a bad look, and I think it was just a Halloween party, but everyone made a big thing of that. And then, he had his teenage years, or young 20s, where he was, I remember there was a video of him released in Las Vegas in a hotel where he was like boozing, and everyone was up in arms about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then he went and became like a helicopter pilot in the military, and like buttoned himself up and married this beautiful actress, and now he's
never backed down. He's never backed down from like who he is, which is cool. He's cool.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. So I do think it's a good thing. He's certainly not going to lose money.
That's what I was going to ask. Does he in some way lose his trust fund or whatever?
I don't think so. I think his trust fund is the taxes are his trust fund.
Is it?
British taxes pay for all that shit.
But isn't it from their like lineage of investments and stuff and like the crown, whatever? I don't know if it comes out of taxes.
Maybe, but I would see like Buckingham Palace is definitely kept up via taxpayer dollars.
And they seem to love it over there.
Absolutely. They're all on the they're the faces on the money, on the currency. They're very proud of it.
Right.
It's a huge part of their tourist revenue.
Right.
People really go out to see the changing of the guard and all that shit. But I don't know. We'd have to do a little more research. So I think it's a good move. I don't think it's an oops to have the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle move to Canada. Although you'd also wonder, like, can't they just move to, Yorkshire or some place that's the Cotswolds?
Right. I don't know. Yeah, it seems the Canada thing seems extreme, and I don't know if they're going to find what they want there. I mean, Canada's lovely, small, underpopulated. Everybody lives near the border of the U.S. Like, I don't know. I don't think that
not everybody, by the way. The tribes of none of it.
No, like over 90% of people live within 75 miles of the border.
Is that
their
true?
30 million population. Yes.
Heavens.
Yeah. Heavens to Betsy.
Heavens to Betsy. I did not know.
But yeah, let's not forget the tribes, the way that the Canadians have.
The tribes of the northern Canadian provinces, like the Northwest Territories.
Right.
Manitoba.
What's it called? Yellowknife?
Yukon Territories.
I'd love to go up to the Yukon sometime.
Yukon.
There's a comedy club there.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Have you ever performed in Canada?
Yeah, I did. I've done Toronto, comedy bar in Toronto before.
Cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I've never done anything up there. I'd like to.
Hey, maybe Montreal this year, pal.
Yeah,
play
right.
Our cards right.
Not a chance.
All right, Chris has some info about the way that the royal family gets their dough.
The British taxpayers support the family through a sovereign grant issued by the Treasury. This year's grant will come out to 104.8 million. That's about 65 cents per person per year.
Wow. I can't believe the members of the royal family only get 65 cents a year.
Wait, what?
You guys, I just pretended like I misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's 65% cents per citizen. We'll cut that. Cut that, Chris.
No, dude, I was
was
reading the thing
stupid.
that he
It was
just
really
sent me.
stupid of me.
I was reading the thing he sent me. I was
No, yeah. So 100 million a year. I mean, I don't know how many people that's divvied up between, but probably each part of the family, right?
Well, there's a lot of fucking dukes and duchesses and lords
Cousins
and stuff.
But it's not like Saudi Arabia where there's
that's different.
where there's like 500 brothers.
Right. But that's also all Saudi nationals get a piece of that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
but the vast majority of that money goes to the royal family.
I wonder percentage-wise how true that is. 'Cause, I mean, but I'm sure. Like as far as percentage per individual, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good question. I wonder.
Cool. By the way, remember we talked about how I really wanted to go visit Saudi Arabia?
I would love to do that.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Why?
Dude, there's a lot of pretty bad shit bubbling up in that region of the world.
Iran and Saudi Arabia are like mortal enemies forever.
Yes, exactly.
And also, I mean, not to get political, I'm going to put this on the record. I don't see that escalating. Like the Iran's retaliatory measure, there was no casualties. It could easily just end at that and should and likely will.
I've read a lot about this and I've seen some pretty interesting reports saying like that killing Soleimani or whatever was actually an interesting, good move.
Interesting.
Because it was something they didn't expect at all. I don't know. I don't really want to get into it, you know?
Well, I can just say I'm not stressed about it.
No, I'm not that stressed about it either. I'm not that stressed about it.
Let's go to Saudi Arabia, bro. Me and you.
The thing is, if we went to Saudi Arabia, we might get caught in the crossfire from Iran. Iran and Iraq have pretty bad blood, dude.
Yeah, that's true. But Iraq is not Saudi Arabia.
I forgot.
I'm just saying.
Forgot what I was talking about there.
I also saw a commercial recently that was like, visit Saudi Arabia, get your visa today.
Yes, me too.
They're pushing it.
They really are. And they always show that like sliver of sandy beach that looks so nice. It's like, is that where we should go? Because I could find that in the Bahamas, but.
Yeah, I would love to visit every country in the world. That would be too.
No, you don't want to go to Syria, dude.
I had an opportunity to go before the war. I wish I had done it.
What the fuck?
I lived in Jordan for like a minute.
What?
Yeah, you don't know this? Dude, listen to this. All right, listen. This will happen. My buddy was going to boarding school in Jordan, which I imagine you probably know people who went there. King's Academy.
What's it called?
The King's Academy. Because
Okay. We know the royal family.
You know the royal family, King Hussein. So anyway, King Abdullah, who's
It's
his son,
yeah.
went to Deerfield, and he was
That's
like,
right.
I'm going to make a boarding school like that in the Middle East.
I heard about
He made this boarding school. My buddy, he got into this school, and he went as a freshman because he didn't like his other options. His family has, ties in the Middle East, whatever. So his family was like, listen, he is like lonely and shit. If we paid for everything, would you be willing to go over there for a while? I was like, yeah. So I just fucking went over there for like a month and a half, 2 months, chilled. It was amazing.
You went up for 2 months to Jordan?
Yeah. Put me up in a hotel. I was just chilling. And like, they had a guy called Speedy Sam who would just drive me around the country every day to do shit. So I basically exhausted everything there was to do in Jordan and eventually just ended up like getting back on US time and like FaceTiming my girlfriend. But I did everything in Jordan. And one day we were in the desert in near these palaces, which were like 60 miles away from the border of Syria. And he's like, you want to go to Syria? We could do that. And I was like, whatever. Like I didn't give a shit at the time. And I wish that I had because it would have been cool.
How many years ago was this?
This was in 2010.
Dude, it's interesting. So Syria back then was pretty safe.
Very. Yeah, there's nothing going on.
And Lebanon was the place that people
and I visited
were worried
there
about.
while I was there. While I was there, I went to Lebanon.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Because Lebanon has the radical group. Hezbollah is from Lebanon, right?
Right. They've kind of transitioned into more of a mainstream political.
Yeah. So now Lebanon is pretty safe, and Syria is in ruins.
Well, Lebanon though now is having the whole like Arab Spring moment.
Are they?
Yeah, like there's a big overhaul of the government, but it's very political in nature. It's not really rebel group driven.
Interesting.
It's like the people against the establishment. But Beirut was like Paris, but with no rules at all.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Have you been there before?
No, but I know
Really
everyone
wonderful.
speaks French there.
Yeah, everybody speaks French there. You'd have a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking fun, man. Like party city.
Interesting. Really
Really good time. Have you ever been to Israel?
No, I'd like to go.
I'd like to go there too. We should do that.
I would like to go.
I'm just trying to rope Francis into travel commitments. I'm like, let's go to Saudi Arabia, dude.
Well, let me ask you
Let's go
this.
to Israel.
Let me ask you this, Giulio. Let me run this by you. Okay? My question is, you say that you spent 2 months in Jordan.
Mhm.
Where the fuck did you find the time to just go over there for 2 months?
Okay, it's a good question. I worked at a real estate company. That job didn't work out. And I was in between things. And I had just decided that I was maybe going to try to be a comedian. I'd been doing that for 6 months. And they're like, do you want to go for 2 months? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wasn't like enough into comedy to realize that you need to be around and that you need to, you know what I mean? I didn't know any of that yet. And I had nothing in keeping me here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck it, just go. It'll be a great experience.
Got it.
And I'm happy that I did it.
You have so many amazing things like this from your life that every time we talk, you turn over a new card. And I'm like, where the fuck did you get that?
Well, dude, this is what happens to me. Like one thing I try to do, anytime there's an opportunity to go a place with somebody who's familiar with the place, I typically will pull the trigger.
That's cool.
And it'll happen. Like one time I was in LA and I was out and a friend of mine who's a pretty good friend, but like we don't see each other much. We're just not like in my initial list of friends, even though I consider her a good friend. So my parents live in Brazil. You should come. I was drunk. I was like, all right, fuck it. And I just booked a ticket right there and woke up in the morning. I was like, I guess I'm going to Brazil in a couple months, and like had to figure it out then.
Yeah.
But like that's a recurring theme for me.
Sounds like
Drunkenly
you're
booking travel.
You're very willing to act on impulse.
This could be an ADD thing.
You're a
I'm
yes
still
man.
not taking Adderall, everybody. Since we talked about this last, I'm trying to go cold turkey. Thank you, everybody, for your helpful messages with what kind of other things to try. But yeah, man, I don't know. Impulsive, definitely. But so far, it's worked out. And I hope to continue to kind of like visit random places.
Interesting. Well, we will continue to monitor Giulio's brain and the effects of the withdrawal from this very potent medication.
And also, no response yet from the Naked Wedding guy.
Oh,
After the follow-up.
Good. Yeah. Damn. I was hoping that would pan out. Let's see how that develops too. And for now, this has been Oops the Podcast. As always, please send us your mistakes, your hypothetical, should I do this? Should I do that? Oopses and fuck ups and failures, DM them to our at Oops the Podcast on Instagram account. And that's it for this week. Anything coming up?
No, nothing too crazy right now. Some stuff in March that I'm excited about. We have some cool stuff coming up with the podcast too. We took it on the road. We'll tell you more about that.
Yeah.
We're excited about that episode.
Hell yeah.
And for now, yeah, just hit me up on Instagram, not Julio. If anything, interesting, you got anything you want to share about what the podcast made you feel or think, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Provoke our thoughts. Push us around.
What about you?
I'm at Charleston this Friday for the Charleston Comedy Festival at the Wolf Street Playhouse. I think it's called that. I don't even really know. This is I was at Charleston last week. It was a great show. We had a great time. In the meantime, you can also see me in Philadelphia March 5th through the 7th at Helium Comedy Club. Oh, and I'm also going to be at Skankfest South in Houston March 25th to the 27th. And that's it for now. Thanks so much, guys.
Love it. Bye-bye.